All right, that's going to do it for us for Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock. Nightline is next, followed by Jimmy Kimmel.
We're keeping an eye on all the events in Iraq, including the fact that the UN weapons inspectors have now left the country. They have lifted off. Eyewitness News begins tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
Now for the entire Eyewitness News team, I'm Michelle Tuzzi along with Mark Brown. Good night.
During these uncertain times, stay with ABC News and Eyewitness News for the very latest developments here at home and around the world, only on ABC 7.
Peaceful efforts to disarm the Iraqi regime have failed again and again because we are not dealing with peaceful men.
The president issues an ultimatum to Saddam Hussein.
Should Saddam Hussein choose confrontation, the American people can know that every measure has been taken to avoid war, and every measure will be taken to win it.
Words the troops in Kuwait have been waiting to hear.
Their refusal to do so will result in military conflict, commenced at a time of our choosing.
Words this general knows mean that war is imminent. The moment is at hand. Now what's going through your head?
But it's sobering, the president's speech. It was, this is, I think, a very profound moment in history here.
Tonight, moment of truth. The die is cast.
From ABC News. This is Nightline. Reporting with the U.S. Army 3rd Infantry Division in Kuwait, Ted Koppel.
Most of the men and women of the 3rd Infantry Division are just waking up. They knew when they went to sleep last night that the president was going to speak. Now they will learn that there is only one event that will keep them from going to war.
All the decades of deceit and cruelty have now reached an end. Saddam Hussein and his sons must leave Iraq within 48 hours. Their refusal to do so will result in military conflict, commenced at a time of our choosing.
There's no real expectation here that anything like that will actually happen. It was shortly after 4 o'clock this morning, Kuwaiti time, that I sat down with the commanding general of the 3rd Division, Major General Buford Blunt, to listen with him to the president's speech. When the command for war is given by that man, this man will lead the ground assault.
It is not too late for the Iraqi military to act with honor and protect your country by permitting the peaceful entry of coalition forces to eliminate weapons of mass destruction. Do not obey any command to use weapons of mass destruction against anyone, including the Iraqi people. War crimes will be prosecuted. War criminals will be punished. And it will be no defense to say, I was just following orders.
It's 4:15 Tuesday morning here. Most of you men and women are still asleep, haven't heard it. What are you going to tell them in the morning?
I've been waiting for this. This will be really the pre-notification that something's going to happen. And so the president said 48 hours, for the Saddam to leave. And I think that the key points he was making in his speech are things that we've been talking to our soldiers about the liberation, of Kuwait, that we're going in as liberators to free the people.
I know you have at least one contingency plan that if Saddam were to leave, you'd move even faster than you expect to move now. Can you just talk about that for a moment? I mean, do you expect him to leave? Do you think there's a remote chance that he might?
I don't think he will, no. Not at this point.
Is there any chance that he may be overthrown?
We would hope for that, and that the people of Iraq and the military will decided that Saddam's not worth fighting for.
As your men and women get up though in the morning, do you have any plans to talk to them? Any plans to?
Got over 20,000 soldiers here, but we'll try to get around and see as many of them as we can.
What's the essence of the message going to be?
It's going to be that you're ready, and that we'll do what's asked of us. And I think that the unit's very, very well trained, and I think, as you've seen, they're confident in their ability, and I think we can do this and do it safely and bring bring everybody back.
Does the war begin in 48 hours? Is that really what the president
I
said?
really don't know. They have not told us yet.
Really?
So we're ready. I think there'll be an escalation of events here in the next, after the 48-hour period. We have not had an LD time yet.
LD meaning?
Crossing the line of departure, where we would actually go into Iraq. That's still to be determined.
That will presumably be preceded by some kind of air war, cruise missile attacks. Is this camp going to be breaking down while that's going on, or even prior?
Well, we're going to start getting ready. We'll start breaking items down and loading up. We've got a lot of equipment on the ground, so we're going to begin loading that equipment up and leaning further forward, and anticipate the next day or so getting some type of movement order if it's going to happen.
The 3rd Infantry Division has been, elements of the division have been in and out of here for the better part of a year. I have to ask you at this point, you've been preparing for war for a year. The moment is at hand. Now what's going through your head? Butterflies in your stomach?
Not butterflies yet, but it's sobering. The president's speech, it was, this is, I think, a very profound moment in history here. And it is a sobering realization that it's going to happen, and that we've got a lot of people, a lot of U.S. soldiers that'll be putting their lives on the line as we go in to liberate the Iraqi people.
All right, General Blunt, we'll continue in just a moment. We're going to take a short break.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Mutual of Omaha.
After Dad's stroke, he had to go into a nursing home.
Well, it was okay.
Tomorrow, on the brink of war, the U.S. and its allies prepare to attack Iraq as troops wait for striking orders. What you need to know. Tomorrow, watch World News Tonight.
Posted pop-up notes pop up one at a time from the handy dispenser. And since posted pop-up notes are so easy to grab, you won't go nuts looking for nuts. Need refills? Posted pop-up notes are the accordion-style notes. So pick up some today.
In this period of ever-increasing gasoline prices, Honda would like to proudly remind you that the Civic is one of the most fuel-efficient cars in its class. The Civic from Honda. Now you can lease a 2003 Civic LX sedan for $159 a month for 48 months.
I urge every member of the Iraqi military and intelligence services, if war comes, do not fight for a dying regime that is not worth your own life. And all Iraqi military and civilian personnel should listen carefully to this warning. In any conflict, your fate will depend on your actions. Do not destroy oil wells, a source of wealth that belongs to the Iraqi people.
Back once again with the commander of the 3rd Infantry Division, General Buford Blunt. General, there are a few things that I know the President and you in your capacity as leading the largest or the main infantry assault on Iraq were hoping for. A lot of these things haven't happened. I know the Air Force was hoping this would happen at the dark of the moon. We got a full moon. I know you were hoping that the 4th Infantry Division would be coming down from Turkey and that there would be a second front. There will be no second front. I know the hope was that there would be a larger military coalition on the ground. We don't have that larger military coalition on the ground. What does that do to your ability to win this war?
Well, there is some coalition here, but it's not as large as we might have hoped for. But as I said in the past, we're very, very ready. We've got a mighty force here, and we can clearly carry out the missions that have been assigned to us.
Do you expect that with those messages, and indeed the president's message to the Iraqi people saying, and to the Iraqi military saying, you don't have to fight this war, do you have any reason to believe that that's having any success? I mean, those messages have been passed by leaflets. You've got agents on the ground, not you personally, but the CIA does. Any feedback yet from what's happening in southern Iraq?
Well, we watch their strengths and their movements, and there have been reports of some desertions, and some of the units may, I think, are listening, and we hope that they get the message.
When you cross the border, when your troops cross the border, they're going to be dressed in biochemical gear?
Yes, yeah, we'll go ahead. In case he tries to, in fact, we'll probably put a lot of the area in, not only those crossing the border, but in case he decides to launch a Scud or some type of counterattack, we'll be prepared throughout Kuwait for that.
Everyone has been saying here that the troops are capable of fighting in full MOP gear, as it's called, right. Biochemical gear. It's hot, it's cumbersome, the masks reduce your visibility, the boots are difficult to walk in, those rubber boots. It has to make a difference in terms of a unit's fighting capabilities. So tell me what it is you mean when you say you can do it even under those circumstances.
Well, one of the great things about our division is we are a mechanized division, and that most all of our soldiers are riding, so we're not having to walk 10, 15, 20, 100 kilometers. So we'll be mounted. Our vehicles give us protection, and like in our tanks, you don't have to have the mask on or the gloves. And then if there are times that we have to dismount, we'll set the conditions so that they don't have to go as far on the ground. It is more restrictive, clearly, but they fire the weapons with the mask on, and can operate that in that environment. But we'll try to change the conditions a little bit by getting closer to where we would have to dismount. And also, if we are in chemical gear, then because of a chemical environment, that means the enemy would have to be in chemical environment too that we're closing with. And most of his troops do not have the chemical gear.
What does your gut tell you? Will he or won't he use it? I'm
hoping he doesn't. And I don't think he will, but like I said, we'll be prepared. Like he loses a lot more than he gains. He will be shown that he's a liar, that he's been concealing this. He's been saying all along he does not have it, but clearly if he does use it, then he's been lying to the world. And just, to me, it ensures that, we're doing the right thing.
The president was clearly issuing a warning to the Iraqis not to set their oil fields on fire. Is that a great concern? What would happen under those circumstances?
Well, I think we're concerned really more for the Iraqi people because it's a source of income that would be used to help rebuild the country. And so it would just be a delay in the country's ability to get back on its feet.
But I mean, in terms of the military threat that it represents, in other words, if you have those blank billowing clouds of smoke, it really does cover the entire environment. You know what it was like here in Kuwait 12 years ago.
We will have the capability of, looking at how the winds blow to predict where that's going to be and operate around it. It's more for just for the stability of the country that we're concerned about, not as much for the military impact.
Last question.
Looking at where the oil fields are and where the winds blow and the predominant drift of the smoke.
What goes through the mind of a commanding general as he's on the eve of battle?
Just hope I think we've done everything that we need to do, and we're continually, thinking about the families and the soldiers and their welfare. Trying to make sure that they all come back safely.
General Blunt, thank you very much, and the best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. When we come back, the men and machines will be on the front lines of the invasion force.
What happened? I ordered 200 oxen, but they sent us all these little wiener dogs. 200 dachshund? Were you on a cell phone, sir? Well, yeah.
Static. Here. Now you can get clear calls and do more because Sprint built the largest all-digital, all-PCS-enhanced nationwide network from the ground up. For clarity you can see and hear.
Thanks. Now, this would have helped.
Get unlimited PCS Vision, 500 anytime, and unlimited night and weekend minutes from Sprint.
You work on it.
You think on it.
You play on it.
It was kind of like this dream I'd always
had.
Spend
all day on it.
Getting into something.
Chill on
Talk
it.
on it.
Homework
Relax on it.
It's really warm. It's comforting. You entertain
You
on
use
it. Pass the time. Contemplate things.
Snooze.
Watch TV. Rest on it. Romance. Drift away.
Think.
Being able to be there for hours.
You spend your life on it. Shouldn't it be the furniture you've always wanted?
Ethan Allen.
Furniture built for your life.
At a price you can actually live with.
So, you want to open a checking account?
Yes, but I don't want to pay for it.
Right. And you want online banking?
Right, if it's free.
And unlimited online bill paying?
I don't want to have to pay for that either. No.
So you want total security protection on your check card, free?
Look, I just don't think I should have to pay for any of it.
Neither do we.
Free checking plus with direct deposit from Bank of America. Higher standards.
Tonight for a special St. Patrick's Day show with co-host Fred Durst, musical guest Britney Spears. Oh, no, wait, she doesn't. Flogging Molly will be here.
Jimmy Kimmel Live coming up.
Mom, Dad, welcome to our new home. Oh, Bill's afraid of termites, so we had the entire home made of concrete.
Oh, so modern.
Comfortable. Here's a better idea. Call Terminix for a lifetime protection plan that covers repairs on any new termite damage. Don't you want protection this good? 1-800-TERMINIX. No bugs, no hassles.
For a mattress. Good for the back.
The perfect accessory for your right foot. Cadillac CTS. Breakthrough. Visit your Southern California Cadillac dealer for this attractive offer. See dealer for residency restrictions.
The commander of the 3rd Division, Major General Buford Blount, took us aboard his Black Hawk helicopter as he conducted an aerial review of his force deployment. The division is currently spread out over roughly 200 square miles of Kuwaiti desert, just shy of 20,000 men and women, more than 9,000 vehicles, heavy armor, M1 tanks, Bradley fighting vehicles, mounted artillery, armored personnel carriers, all of them linked and coordinated in combat by mobile command and control vehicles. Down there are Patriot missiles deployed to protect the division against the possibility of a Scud attack. General Blunt has no real expectation that the Patriots will be needed. They've spotted no missile activity. That's confirmed by human intelligence reports in the south of Iraq. The first tankers likely to see action are the ones down there, the men of the 3rd Brigade, nicknamed Sledgehammer. It is a huge, lumbering piece of armor. The fastest, most powerful tank in the world. When it moves into battle, as this M1A1 tank will almost certainly do before the week is out, it can reach speeds of well over 40 miles an hour.
Combat speed.
Head on, it can absorb and survive anything the Iraqis can fire at it. This tank, that man, Lieutenant Colonel J.R. Sanderson, who is the commander of the Panther Battalion, will likely be among the very first to engage the Iraqi army.
Any enemy in the world is going to defend what he thinks is precious to him. So whether it be bridges, whether it be towns, air bases, whatever it may be. And that enemy is going to defend that. And he's going to put his air defense systems up so that the aircraft have a problem getting in. He's going to bring all of his combat systems to bear in order to in order to stop me from getting into this. It's called the theory of the beaten zone, if you will, where he's going to bring all of his direct fire systems to bear on one specific point. The only system in the world that can cross a beaten zone successfully is the main battle tank.
What I'll do is we'll go down to what's called name tag defilade, which means that you want your name tag at this level right here. What this allows me to do is see through this vision block. It also allows me to use my caliber 50 machine gun. So those are two of my pieces. Also allows me to grab my hatchet and close it very quickly if I need to.
It is an art form. It is not a science. So you have to be able to feel a battlefield. You have to know the difference between hearing fire and receiving fire. You have to, it's all rolled up into what the folks at Fort Leavenworth would call battle command.
This over here to the right is my engineer company, my combat engineer company. Over here in the front row up here is the assassin company.
Now, wait a second. What's the assassin company?
Assassin company?
Yeah.
A company, 269 Armor.
Assassin is just the call sign? Yeah.
Everybody goes by their call sign.
I think we follow here 3 basic rules of combat. We call them the Panther rules of combat. Rule number 1 is that I must see the enemy before he sees me, which means that I now hold the initiative because I have seen him. I see where his defenses are at. And that could come from satellite photos. That could come from, higher level intel sources, or it could come from that scout platoon over there. The second thing I have to be able to do is make contact with the smallest amount of combat power that I possibly can, which means normally I would like to make contact with 1 tank, direct fire contact out of the 120 millimeter main gun. And that's normally at, we'd like for it to be between 2,000 and 2,300 meters. And the third rule of Panther combat is that fire distribution and control. I have to be able to control and mask the fires of this task force.
The box on the side is
The Bradley fighting vehicle is smaller, lighter, both in terms of armor and firepower, than the M1. But along with its 3-man crew, it's also designed to carry a squad of 7 infantrymen in the back. And some of the Bradleys, like this one, are equipped with a massive 120 millimeter mortar. What totally redefines the fighting capability of all this heavy rolling armor, though, is that each vehicle is equipped with a computer system that is linked to General Blount aboard his mobile command and control vehicle. Lieutenant Colonel John Charlton, commander of Dragon Battalion, showed me how it works. Walk me through it as concisely as you can. This is really the first time that this kind of a vehicle, this kind of a fighting station, is going into battle in a computer-controlled environment.
Yes, we've made a lot of advancements in what we call battle command, how to control forces on the battlefield, how to identify where we are, where the enemy is, and where we need to go to attack. And we've got quite a few systems that have really increased our capability in that area. Many of my command vehicles are equipped with these systems, these digital systems. And what you see inside this Bradley fighting vehicle, this is my command track, is a digital battle command system that allows me to do anything I want as far as seeing where all of my forces are, where other friendly forces are, and if we make contact with the enemy, we can send the location of the enemy virtually anywhere so that all the forces can see where the enemy is, what he's doing, what type of equipment there is.
You've been training for so long now. Can you believe that you may actually be in combat next week at this time?
It seems we've been here since, going on 9 months with a short break over the holidays. We've trained on every task that we may have to do. And basically right now we are ready for the word to go and do our mission. And it does seem kind of strange that we've come this long, and now we're on the edge of having to do it, but they're ready.
Is it okay to think about being a little bit afraid of what's lying ahead of you? I know you're a soldier, I know you're a professional, but...
And naturally, it would be foolish not to be afraid. The Iraqi army is no match for the U.S. and other coalition forces, but they can hurt you. And we are not going to be overconfident. We are not going to be arrogant when we attack. We are going to expect the worst possible fight, and we are going to go in there with as much force and lethality as possible. And if it's less than a serious fight, that's great. But we're expecting the worst, and we've trained for the worst. So I feel ready, and that readiness kind of helps overcome a lot of that fear.
Thank you, Colonel. When we come back, I'll have a closing thought.
Epson T001, Canon BC31E.
Shopping for ink and toner in most stores is hit or miss.
HP C9720.
Come on.
A.
At Staples, we stock a huge selection of cartridges, so we guarantee we'll have the one you need. Online or in store, promise.
HP 45.
Bingo.
Your ink and toner in stock. Staples, that was easy.
New chandelier with antique wall plate, $280. Finding out the blender does work, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For home improvement stuff, there's MasterCard.
Backed up in all 4 lanes in both directions, all the way up to the 114-mile marker. This one's turning into a real mess, folks. If you can avoid the freeway at all, I suggest you do. Moving on to the 302 interchange, not much new there.
Maybe.
This April, Lexus will put the world on notice. Again. The entirely new RX 330. It's coming.
The men of the 3rd Division will be the first major element of U.S. ground forces in Baghdad. How soon depends, of course, on how much of a fight the Iraqi army puts up. We cannot know how and when precisely this war will end, but as day breaks here in northern Kuwait, we can now tell you roughly how and when it will begin. They'll start breaking up camp here today, Tuesday. By midweek, the division will be taking up its ready position a very few miles from the Iraqi border. They'll pause for a couple of days or less while U.S. bombers and cruise missiles pound key targets in Baghdad and Iraqi command and control throughout much of southern and central Iraq. Apache Longbow helicopters will try to take out the minimal Iraqi guard posts along the Kuwaiti border. And then, at some point toward the end of the week, roughly 15,000 men aboard hundreds of armored vehicles and thousands of other vehicles will begin the ground invasion of Iraq. That's our report for tonight. I'm Ted Koppel with the 3rd Infantry Division. For all of us here at ABC News in northern Kuwait, good night.
In times like these, what's it take to cover the world? You have to know the territory, not just report what everyone else has, but what no one else has even thought to cover. ABC News. Unique, brave, provocative, unmatched. When it matters most, is it any wonder more Americans get their news from ABC News?